Last night, the channel had one of its biggest events. We now have our own radio show. It was unbelievable. I thought, going into it was very, very nervous. Everybody was nervous, including Rob, who I have to say was absolutely fantastic as a presenter. We pushed him to do it. Kyle was nervous. And then after about 10 to 15 minutes, it was pretty easy. We got in naturally. And then, I'll let the guys explain to this.
It went absolutely brilliantly, and I was absolutely buzzing to be part of that and to take the lead with it. And thank you so much to Lee for giving me such an opportunity, such a big opportunity. And I'm looking to go into radio in the future, certainly investigate that possibility. And how I felt just before the broadcast, I was absolutely nervous. Reminded me of the time that Lee brought me live on Sky Sports. It was, and then the introduction start. I got my cue, and then I stuttered quite a bit, and that was down to the nerves. I was still bricking it at that point, but after that, once we got talking about the football, what we were there for, I was confident as I have been, on the podcast. So it was very similar to what we do on the podcast. So on the whole, really pleased with how it went, and I'm looking forward to doing more for NE1FM.
And so we debuted on the NE1FM network last night on my first ever radio broadcast. And going into it, to be honest, I wasn't nervous all day. I didn't give it much thought. Then about 5 minutes before, I started bricking it a bit, and when we went on air, I was I didn't know what to say. It was the first time I did a video, to be honest. I was a bit nervous, bricking it a bit, and then after that it was a breeze, to be honest. Listening to people's calls and talking about Newcastle and what it means for the channel, absolutely phenomenal. I think it's a step up for it. It shows we're in a more professional light. I think it's phenomenal. I think Rob presenting his first show tonight last night did an absolutely phenomenal job. I couldn't ask for a better presenter to talk alongside. He was absolutely brilliant, and I think he's got so much potential to do something in radio one day, and hopefully it's with Newcastle Fans TV and NE1FM. But see what the future holds with it. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to be a part of more experiences like yesterday, and it's a great opportunity to be a part of it and a part of this channel as well.
So, nice words about Rob, thank you very much. Kyle, nice words about the channel. Without any further ado, go and get yourself a cuppa, relax. You've got over an hour of talking about Newcastle. If you're going out, get it on your car, put it in your earphones, listen to this. Thanks everyone, bye bye, enjoy.
To get in touch with the studio, call us on 0191 432 7234 or text the word NE1 followed by your message and send it to 60777. This is NE1FM.
As you heard there, we want to know your thoughts, so please get in contact with us. And so, to start off the show, we'll be talking about our current situation. Are we safe from relegation yet? So, let's open up the floor here. Lee, what do you think? Because at the start of the season, we were in a big rut. We were in big trouble. We were stuck in that relegation zone. We didn't know where the next goal was coming from, let alone the next win, back in September. So, state the case for us as we approach the business end of the campaign.
I think we're safe. I think probably one more win will probably do it. We're sitting on 35 points at the moment. And I think probably one more win, whether it's against Arsenal, comes later on the season. I think once that monkey's off the back, so to speak, we can go on and express our football. I think the way that Rafa, probably since Christmas, has mostly been, it was pushed on him with injuries, and he found this wing back system. It's worked a treat. He's put Matt Ritchie a left wing back. Yedlin seems to be a little bit better player. I think every single player has upped their game, and you can see in recent performances we're now coming back from 1-0 down, 2-1 down, and we're actually coming back to get a point and get 3 points. That wouldn't have happened earlier on the season, Rob. Wouldn't.
So you say that the system that we are playing now, it's got the best out of the players that we have in the squad?
I think it's partly the reason. I think you've got to look at Miguel Almiron signing as well. I think he's got you look at that front three at the minute, you look at Rondon, Perez and Almiron, those front three at the moment, you've seen people on other radio stations and national TV saying, wow, look at these three, they've been compared to Kevin Keegan. I know that's a big thing to compare against, and look, this isn't Kevin Keegan's side, but it's nice to actually talk about Newcastle's front three as well. And, you know, Almiron, yes, he hasn't set the world light, had a fantastic debut, but he just gets you excitement. And what it does, it creates space, which not many people notice. And I think he's got a lot more come, don't get me wrong, but the relationship with him, Rondon and Perez is absolutely brilliant, and this wing-back system suits them so good.
And Kyle, I mean, Lee touched there on Jose Perez and his performances. Do you think the fact that Yoshinori Muto was called up to the Asia Cup in the winter, that has been a blessing in disguise for Perez, hasn't it?
It's not only that, I think with Almiron saying as well, it's got the best out of Perez. Like the driving forward as a front three, and I think out of the bottom 10 teams, I think we've definitely got the best front three of the lot. And it just shows with Mutu being on the bench, we paid $9.5 million for him last summer, and he can't even get a game. It just shows how good they're playing at the moment. Perez, for me, is in the form of his life at Newcastle. He's playing his best football, and I think that's complimentary to Almiron, who started so well, I think, and Rondon as well, who I think who's had a brilliant season all round. And they're just starting to get a partnership together, and are proven to be really deadly for defences in the Premier League. Just ask Everton. Perez and Rondon single-handedly sorted them out in the second half and came back to win 3-2. So
Pickford helped there, didn't he?
Pickford definitely helped with an assist. I mean, he gave it large in the first half and that, but
Beautiful.
didn't in the second.
Certainly felt like Pickford, it seemed like the occasion got the better of him. He got too engrossed in the whole rivalry between Newcastle and Sunderland, and that seemed to be, you know, the cause of his downfall. But you touched on Perez there. He's in the form of his life, and you know, we are basically having a mirror image of a season that we were having last season. You know, similar amounts of wins that were who popped up at the second half of last season? Perez, and he's done the same again this season. You know, can he keep it up? And you know, at the end of the season, we could well be saying that the performances of Perez and, you know, the way he's combined with Rondon, you know, that could see us to safety, and we could be, you know, well relieved of you know, the fact that Perez has put shifts in time and time again since Yoshinori Muto got that call up to the Asia Cup. And so let's move on. Let's have a look at the run-ins of the teams that are around us in our vicinity. And so we are still to play. We've got Arsenal next week. That's next Monday, whilst we are live on air. And that is followed by Crystal Palace, Leicester City, Southampton, Brighton away, Liverpool at home, then Fulham on the final day. And there's only 3 of those teams that we are still to play. That's Arsenal, Leicester and Liverpool. They're the only teams in our run-in who are currently above us in the table. Please expand.
You'll probably touch on it a little later, but I think Newcastle have the better running of the teams around with. Like, I'll probably touch on Cardiff. They play in their last 8 games to play for the top 6.
They have it very difficult.
They have a very difficult run, and that's why I think Newcastle only need 3 or 4 points to confirm safety, because I no disrespect to Cardiff and any Cardiff fans listening, but I just can't see them beating the teams they've got to play. I mean, they've got a great chance I think they've got Southampton in that run-in. They need to beat teams like around them to catch up, but I just don't see it. I really don't.
It's hard to sort of see them wriggle out of that situation, but we have in April, we have Crystal Palace, Southampton both at home, followed by Brighton away. Those 3 are very winnable games, aren't they, Lee? And do you think that, you know, we could be looking at a top half finish once again if we win those games?
Steady, Rob. How steady?
Getting ahead of myself.
Look, those are on paper, but we know that anyone in the Premier League can beat anyone. Look at Huddersfield, 4-3 West Ham. I know West Ham came back and won, but it's going to be tough. I think, like I said earlier on, I think one more win will do it. And whether it comes against Palace or against Southampton, ideally you want to beat one of those 3 because they're down with you. If you're going to suffer defeats around you, get it against Arsenal, get it against Liverpool. Just touch on the running as well. Wouldn't it be brilliant if Liverpool messed up their title hopes when Rafa Benitez is in charge at home? It's coming, isn't it?
Be quite ironic, wouldn't it?
It's in the script, isn't it? It's certainly in the fantasy of many Manchester United supporters, I would imagine. And so, you know, we're talking of all this relegation talk, and we are sort of assuming that Fulham and Huddersfield, they are doomed.
Yeah,
nothing more than that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm pleased Fulham are down, because it means no more longer trips to London. And we can get rid of Cardiff and Southampton, because it means in away days we don't have to go all the way down there.
You're getting a bit too ahead of yourself, Lee, because Norwich are going to come up by the looks of things, and Norwich is a nightmare to get to. It's like all the way out in the middle of nowhere, mate, honestly. And usually we'll get put against Norwich on a Tuesday night, so it's like
fancy
I'll go for the love of the team, but I don't fancy it, mate, I'll be honest.
Not accessible as city as Norwich, but it's a lovely city. I love that sort of Great Yarmouth, East Anglia sort of area.
Please, you've said that.
So, you know, like I was saying, back in September, you know, we were really struggling down at the bottom, you know, in the relegation zone. Couldn't know where the next goal was coming from, let alone the next win. So, to you guys, what was the turning point of our season?
I think it's the injuries made you not go along with that, Kyle. I think when you found these injuries, remember we had loads out. You had to play Hayden, you had to play Longstaff, and you had to go, you change it to wing back. I think that's a massive part, but also, as I said earlier on, I think Almiron signing helps attacking wise. Kyle's looking at me thinking I don't agree with you there, do you?
I think that it was the night we played Man City, because we agreed the deal for Almiron and we knew he was coming to St James's Park, and then we played Man City a couple of hours later and we beat them, and I think the Man City game really turned the tide of the season, because I said to you in the past, when last season we beat Man United at home and it really kicked Newcastle's season up. We beat several teams that we probably wouldn't have beat earlier in the season, like your Leicesters and teams like that, and we kicked on and we stayed in the league, and we're one of the informed teams in the league going into the last 6-7 games. We went on that streak of games where we lost 5 on the bounce, and then we beat Chelsea the final day of the season, but that Man U game gave with the kick up we needed to stay in the league. And I think the Man City game has really done that again this season, where we've went on a 4-game winning streak in the league, you know, so it's turned the tide of the season completely.
I think also, if you go earlier on in the season, our away form was brilliant. Remember, we were winning like Burnley, and this wing-back system, it was the start of it. I think it was a change, but it's kind of the roles have been reversed a little bit, where we're much more better at home, because we're struggling to score goals, and now it's been just flipped, and we're so much brilliant at home. Away, I think we're more solid. I think we're a lot more harder to beat than Arsenal. We're
much harder to beat away. Like, we're not. It's not back the days of Steve McLaren where it's like we're going away and we're petrified of what's going to happen to us. But
did you see what he said yesterday?
I seen it actually. It's just
McLaren said there was good days at Newcastle when he was at manager. Are you sure about that, Steve? Give him a ring.
I don't. I highly disagree with what he said. I don't think there was many good days when he was Newcastle manager.
Except the bit where
I can certainly understand that, but our home form was actually all right. I know under McLaren.
Do you remember when we got beat off Sheffield Wednesday reserves?
Yeah, that was a difficult night.
Dark day. Bournemouth at home.
Freshers week at uni, that was for me. But yeah. I mean, the Bournemouth defeat, that was our only home defeat in 2016, I think, in the league. That season, before the end of that season, yes.
It probably was, yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually alright, but good days at Newcastle, that is a pushing the boat out a bit. But yeah, I mean, back to the turning point of the season, I think the Man City game, I completely agree with you, Kyle, and I think what was key is the aftermath of that Man City game. We were not hungover, basically, from that Manchester City game. You know, it was very easy to sort of lose our focus, if you like, because we were still, you know, looking over our shoulders at the relegation zone, even after that win. And yet we still kept on keeping on. Yeah. We nearly got a good result at Tottenham the following game. We nearly pulled off a win at Molineux. You know, we were unlucky not to do that.
I think you've also got to give a shout out to Sean Longstaff. Come on.
Oh yeah.
You've got to. I think
without doubt.
We haven't really mentioned him so far when we're talking about Newcastle, where they are at this stage in the season. It's unfortunate that he's injured, and he could be in England international by now. If he wasn't injured, why not? He's been absolutely. Yeah. Remember what Pep Guardiola said about him and Hayden?
If Longstaff played for Chelsea, he'd probably be playing for England tonight if he wasn't injured, because Callum O'Doy starts for England and he hasn't even started for Chelsea, but he gets an England start before he gets a Chelsea start. I mean, so, you know.
What about you, Gareth?
If he played for a different team.
So, yeah. You look at the situation, it's getting better. We are improving, and the mood is certainly a lot happier on Tyneside than it certainly has been in the previous few months. However, I'm going to touch upon a touchy subject of Mike Ashley. That even if Rafa stays for a further, X amount of years, because word has been going around, with the ambition of, Rafa might be able to stay now. We broke our transfer record courtesy of a Barclays bank loan in January.
Go on, Rob. Don't hold it back.
Rafa seems to be a lot happier now than he was before Christmas. There's no doubt about that. So I can understand the talk of, Rafa might stay now. But even if Rafa stays for a further, X amount of years, it still does not remove the discontent the fans have towards Mike Ashley. Yes, it's we're focusing on, the feel-good factor that there is at the moment, but that still doesn't remove the discontent towards Mike Ashley. And we just want to improve so we can reach a point where we're not constantly looking over our shoulders and at the relegation zone, and that's assuming that we are not in it, of course. Where do we go from here? Well, we need to become a stabilised Premier League team, and then that'll take a few years, and then once that happens, you can start knocking on the door for Europe. But we're we're a long way off that.
Just to cut you off, Rob, I think we're already a stabilised Premier League team. I really do.
Really?
Yeah, last season finishing 10th in our promotion season, and then this season we're kind of spot on where we were last season. In fact, we're spot on. We've got the exact same amount of wins, losses, draws, goals scored, goals conceded, same goal difference. It's bizarre, but we're exactly the same point of where we're at last season. And I do think we're a stable Premier League team. I really do, because under Rafa and that will get better as the season goes along. Both times we've shown signs of that. I just think what Rafa wants to stay at the club, he wants what the fans want. He wants progression. He wants to see signs of ambition. He wants a plan set in place so he can say, right, we'll stabilise in the Premier League now. How can we improve? What we're going to do to compete with your West Hams, your Evertons, your Wolves now, because they're the bracket of teams we need to be competing with now. If we're a stabilised Premier League side, Rafa wants to see progression. If he's not going to see progression, he is going to go elsewhere. And Newcastle.
Do you think he will, Kyle? Do you think he will?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. It depends on what they pen him in terms of a deal. If he gets the written assurances like he got in the Championship, Rafa will stay at the club. But if he doesn't, unfortunately, I think he will leave. It's one of them at the moment. The thing is, you seen it last season. Rafa got guaranteed this £140 million war chest, and did he get it? No, he didn't. Nope. I just feel Ashley's PR team put that out to get people renewing season tickets and things like that, and buying the kits for the next season, and then
keeps the fans on side.
Yeah, and then when there's a sign of turmoil, there'll be another PR scheme where Peter Kenya wants to buy the club, and it was Amanda Staveley the year before. It'll be.
I think this time around is slightly different because Rafa knows the power's with him a lot more this time.
Yeah, Rafa's got a lot more leverage this time.
So he can, I wouldn't say dictate the terms, but he has a lot more influence because he won't sign if A, B and C are not met. So he'll want this, he wants that, he wants control. The training field is another one. It goes on and on and on. Are you confident that Rafa will stay? I think Robert's just touched upon. I think he's happier.
Yeah.
He seems more happier. You come across press conferences smiling a lot more. And I also think that helps winning games. Let's face it, it does.
Oh yeah. In terms of feel-good factor, but at the same time, it's a contract is a long term. Yeah, there's always a doubt. He's happier, but he's not beaming, shouting at the rooftops, saying that he's really happy, is he? But hey, yeah, we want to know what your thoughts are. The telephone number is 0191 432 7234. You can send a text, put anyone in your message to 60777, and don't forget you can use the hashtag on social media. That's hashtag NE1. So gents, thank you very much. That has been our talking point over the current situation. It's been a while since we played a game, 9 days now. So coming up we have Arsenal this time next week. And so coming up later tonight we are talking about the Martin Dubravka speculation. His agent has been voicing Juventus's alleged interest in the Slovakian goalkeeper. Also, there's Mo Diame and Salomon Rondon, their futures on Tyneside. Do they have futures on Tyneside, I wonder? And of course, we'll be talking about Sunderland. They have a cup final coming up this weekend in the Checkatrade Trophy at Wembley against Portsmouth.
That's a cup final, is it?
And there's also, we'll touch upon other North East clubs like Blythe Spartans, Hartlepool, Middlesbrough and Gateshead.
A1 FM 102.5. Want to get in touch with the studio? Call us on 0191 432 7234 or text the word NE1 followed by your message and send it to 60777. This is NE1 FM.
And welcome back to the Football Fan Zone, a brand new radio show talking about mainly Newcastle United matters on NE1 FM. Thank you very much for joining me. And right now we have some team news regarding the England match against Montenegro. Jordan Pickford starts in goal. Kyle Walker, Michael Keane, Harry Maguire and Danny Rose playing a back four. Ross Barkley and Declan Rice, the West Ham midfielder, makes his first England start, along with a front three. Dele Alli, Raheem Sterling scored a hat-trick on Friday night against Czech Republic, of course, and of course Harry Kane. So we will be keeping up to date, keeping tabs on the England situation throughout the night. Kickoff is at 7:45. So moving on with our show, we are touching on the Martin Dubravka speculation. His agent has recently come out and alleged that Juventus are interested in his services, and you look at Martin Dubravka, he has been an ever-present for Newcastle ever since he made his debut back in February last year, a dream debut against Manchester United when Matt Ritchie scored the winner. Bit of a funny anecdote about that, but I would digress if I said that. But you have to say that a big team like Juventus, Dubravka's performances have certainly justified calls to go to Juventus. So Kyle, what do you think?
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. He's outside of like David De Gea and probably Hugo Lloris. I think he's been the most consistent keeper in the entire division. Honestly, he's been.
Sorry to put in Hugo Lloris. You would put in as consistent.
He's had some good.
Not off the line. He's not.
He's had a couple of mistakes for Tottenham, but other than that, he's been really consistent. That's my opinion in any way. If you disagree, do phone in. But yeah, I think he's been outstanding. Certainly in the bottom 10 teams, which is where we're at the moment, he's definitely been the best goalkeeper. And for him to be linked to such a prestigious club like Juventus, it doesn't surprise us. If it wasn't Juventus, it'd be someone else. He's been to a T, probably one of our best goalkeepers. Certainly, definitely one of our better players. And to sign him for only 4 million from Sparta Prague as well. Absolutely brilliant.
It's a bargain, isn't it?
Yeah, one hell of a bargain. You've got Chelsea getting Kepa in for what 70 million, and all he's done of relevance is refused to come off as a substitution. But it's like, honestly, Dubravka's been absolutely phenomenal. He's had one or two mistakes, and like as Newcastle fans, we're used to having mistakes in goalkeepers. Like Tim Krul always had a kicking error in him. Jack Anik, let's not talk about Jack Anik.
Poor lad, yeah. But it wasn't the best sort of brief spell that he had in the first team. But of course, goalkeeper is probably the most difficult position out of all the positions that there are on the pitch. Maybe that and the referee. But if you look at this from a Juventus fan's point of view, currently their goalkeepers are Wojciech Szczęsny, which you all might remember.
He's awful. He
used to play for Arsenal.
He's improved a lot in Italy, mindly. He's improved a lot.
I'm not having that.
But he's improved a hell of a lot in Italy. It might be a lot easier in Italy, but with it being more defensive.
Probably has 2 shots a game.
Maybe, but he's improved a lot, and I think he'd be one of the better goalkeepers if he came back to the Premier League. But if I was on a Juventus standpoint, to answer your question, Rob, I think Juventus fans would probably want to go for a more high-profile keeper. But
I would agree on that.
More high-profile than Dubravka or Szczęsny?
No, both. Probably both. They'll be looking at maybe someone of like a higher caliber for sure. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't. He would do everything needed, especially in the Italian league, where he's going to need to take a lot of crosses, which he's fantastic at doing. He's commanding in the box is absolutely phenomenal for a goalkeeper his size and everything like that. Because you get a couple of goalkeepers like Aurelio Gomez and people like that in the Premier League that when the ball goes into them, they're probably 7 times out of 10 they're going to drop it or punch it or something like that, and it just shows how uncomfortable they are. Whereas Dubravka, 9 times out of 10 he's taking that ball in, he's catching it, and he's going to get it up the field very quickly. So Dubravka's very good for things like that.
I think Juventus, if they're looking at Martin Dubravka, they think, who? That's no disrespect to him.
No, I know.
Because they're not going to watch Newcastle week in and week out. Yes, I know in the Premier League and it's global and what have you, but people are going to be Googling Martin Dubravka. Who's this? Is this another Chesney?
Yeah, well, a lot of people probably look at YouTube and look at his highlights, and then they'll be...
Oh, not a YouTube scout.
No, well, obviously know that we're joking here and things like that, but a lot of fans, probably Juventus fans, will look at YouTube and think, oh, who is Martin Dubravka? And they'll see the saves and things like that, and they'll see a great goalkeeper.
Well, I've got some stats to read about Dubravka. Listen to these. Dubravka this season has played the most minutes, he's made the most appearances, he's got the 4th most clean sheets by any goalkeeper. And considering where we are in the league, that is phenomenal.
And I've got another stat as well. He's made more saves in the box than any other goalkeeper in Europe as well.
That's some stat. 7th most saves in the Premier League. He's first for the most high claims. First, that's phenomenal. You mentioned about claiming, and he's got the 9th most punches, so his stats are up there with the big boys.
I mean, in my opinion, I think he's the best goalkeeper since Shea Given.
What a keeper he was.
It's funny that you
to compare him to Shea Given, it's just like for me, Shea Given is like my number one goalkeeper of all time. Some fans prefer. I forgot his name.
Dubravka, Kroll?
So I've been digging quite a few stats on our past 4 goalkeepers. So Martin Dubravka, Rob Elliott, Carl Darlow, and Tim Krul. And Dubravka has the best in terms of average goals per game that he concedes. That's 1.19 compared to Rob Elliott's 1.73. This is all Premier League, by the way. I haven't included the Championship in this. Carl Darlow 1.37, Tim Krul 1.55. That's quite massive. But anyway, moving on, we have a caller on the line. So, hello, very good evening to you, and you are on the air. We're listening.
Hi, are you alright?
I'm good, thanks. And what's your name?
It's Jake.
Jake, thank you very much for joining us. And tell me, what are your thoughts on the current Newcastle situation?
Well, I think Dubravka is probably our best goalkeeper since Shea Given. Especially the price that he cost as well. You know, for £4.5 million, it's not really, is it? So,
True.
But I do think we need another goalkeeper, another backup, because I can't see Darlow staying.
No.
Rob Elliott's not really in contention anymore, is he?
No, it's been a while since he last played, and from the stats, it doesn't really make good reading. He's conceded 90 goals out of the 52 games that he has played in the Premier League, and I know he deservedly won the 2015-16 Fans' Choice for Player of the Season, but you're certainly not content in having him play first-team football again for the club.
No, definitely not.
No, okay.
Jake, can I ask you a question? What do you do with Woodman? What do you do with Freddie Woodman?
I'd keep Freddie Woodman 100%. I'd give him a new contract because it runs out next year, doesn't it? 2020.
Yeah.
And I've been reading that he's being linked with Celtic, Everton, and Arsenal. I think it was because his dad's the academy goalkeeper coach
that's
at
right,
the moment at Arsenal.
Do you make him
But I
number
think
2?
it'd be a huge blow for us to let him go. I'd definitely give him another contract.
Would you put him as number 2 next year?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jake.
It might be putting him a bit in the deep end if, say for example, worst case scenario, we get rid of Dubravka. I mean,
No, it's not happening.
Really?
No.
You can't see that happening?
Nah, I see Dubravka saying a new deal myself. Personally, my three goalkeepers next season would be Dubravka, Woodman, and I'd chuck Harker in, the young keeper.
Okay.
He's impressed so much for the
Yeah,
under-23s this
yeah.
season. They'd be my 3 goalkeepers next season. I'd offload both Darlow and Rob Elliott in the summer.
That's interesting. I mean, if we were... I'll sort of start the question again. If we were going to get rid of Dubravka, God forbid, of course, are there any alternatives that you would look for, or would you be willing to promote Woodman to number 1?
I don't think Woodman's ready for number 1 yet.
Well, he's 2 years younger than me, and when he started, that's just sort of the end of the dream. When you see a player look younger than yourself play on the St James's Park turf, and it's just the crushing realisation that the dream's over. There is no worse feeling.
But how did you learn though? You've got to chuck him in the deep end, don't you?
Yeah, that's.
Well, yeah. I mean, it worked with Shea Given.
Yeah.
Kenny Dalglish threw Shea Given into the deep end, and he never looked back.
Oh, what a keeper he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
You don't know until you chuck them in, do you? I mean, the only thing we can go off for Freddie Woodman is what he's played, and the first game he played for Newcastle was against Luton last year, and he looked very uncomfortable and he parried a lot of things. But in contrast to this year, when he played in the FA Cup, I thought he looked a lot more comfortable. He commanded his box a bit better, so he certainly has improved with his loan moves away to Scotland and things like that. I think another loan move would profit him next year. But if Rafa wanted to keep him as the number 2, I'd understand that as well, and then play him in the cup games and things like that, so he can learn from his experience.
Okay, so thank you very much, Jake, for joining us. We hope you have a very nice night, and thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
No worries.
See you
Thanks,
later.
guys. Bye.
Agents can often use these opportunities to try and get their client a better deal.
Yeah.
So
That's what he's doing.
Is you sure?
Of course he's doing that, man. Why is he doing it? Why is the agent coming out trying to say, Juventus are involved. Now it's Arsenal, there's another one. Arsenal don't want a goalkeeper, they're trying to get Leno, much more improved goalkeeper. It's just a tactic, it's a bullying tactic to go back to the club and say, oh, I've got Juventus, oh, I've got Arsenal. Even if there is a slight interest, it's a tactic to go back and say, right, Mr. Charney, Mr. Ashley, I don't even want to call him that, but when they go back to him and say, right, we want X, Y and Z, how much is the club going to willing to pay? I mean, how much would you pay, Kyle, for Dubravka per week? I'll put him 70-80 grand. I'll put him up there.
He'd be in the higher earners of the goalkeepers in the league for sure.
And he's a very few who deserve that pay rise.
Well, the speculation linking him to Juventus, I can believe. The one with Arsenal, I can't, because, I mean, if, as you say, Bernd Leno is the #1 goalkeeper there, and it's very rare to see two excellent Premier League quality goalkeepers at the same club, because, I mean, one gets game time.
Newcastle had it for a while. We had
Steve Harper and
Shea Given, and Chelsea had it as well with Petr Cech and Carlo Cudicini, if you remember.
Yeah, but Juventus, Dubravka is an upgrade on Chesney, isn't he?
Yes.
I'd say so.
But see, with Dubravka, I think he just loves. I think he's still, even though he's been here just over a year, I think he's still in all over the place. I think he just looks around, and think, I can't believe I'm here. I still think
he's got a great connection with the fans, mate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like every time his name's sung on the ground, you can tell he gets a buzz off it. It's great because not many players like acknowledge the crowd anymore.
And he does it during a game.
And he does it during a game. He's like, and he looks up and he's just like, I think it was an interview after we beat Chelsea in the league, and he's like, he's getting interviewed and like they start singing his name, and he just and he stops his interview. He doesn't know what to say, and it's like,
I think he looks happy when he's being interviewed. I know you can fake it. Don't get me wrong. But he just comes across as. He's likeable, and the fans absolutely love him because he gives something back.
Me. He's a good goalkeeper, and he's a great bloke as well. Honestly.
And I think what he also does with our defence, I don't think he's going. Rob, it's not going.
No,
I can't say it. Either. I think what he also does with our defence, he lifts our defence, he rises it. So you look when he's come in, our defence looks so much more. I'm talking last season as well, more reassured. He very rarely loses the ball in the air. That's something that Shea Given was never good at. We always go, oh, Shea Given, what a goalkeeper, and he was. I still think Shea Given's better than Dubravka, but Dubravka can come out and claim a cross. That's something Shea Given could never do. He just seems to love it. He's unbelievable talent. You've got to get him signed up on a 5-year deal. Yes, he's 30, 31. That's young for a goalkeeper.
It is.
Get him 70-80 grand. He's worth the risk. And no, I tell a lie, it's not even a risk. He's worth it.
It's a safe contract for
David
Newcastle.
I would say that.
Yeah, definitely. It's safe. It's safe for Newcastle. Like
he's proven himself at this level.
Yeah,
he has an affinity with the fans.
It makes sense because. To be fair, Newcastle aren't going to replace him with a better goalkeeper. You're looking at 20-30 million to do that, and even then, it's a risk to say that goalkeeper would be better than Dubravka.
It's one hell of a find. Just going randomly in this Czech Republic league and finding him.
Yeah, it's a shout out to like all the scouts and head of recruitment at Newcastle, because bringing Dubravka in is probably the best signing we've had in terms of a bargain. For a couple of years at least.
And it's probably the only time I'll ever praise Leigh Charney, because he put that clause in the Dubravka loan contract where you'll sign for 4.5 million. That's the only other time, Leigh, if you're listening, it's the only other time you're going to get praise from me. That was a magnificent piece of work. I know we hate Charney and all that, but that was to get him on loan. And 4.5 million, man. That's now, if we sold Dubravka right now, how much would he go for? 40, 50.
I'd rather not talk about Dubravka leaving the club.
No, but it's because of his rise, how well he's done.
Yeah, he'd go for a high fee, I reckon. Definitely.
How much?
I'd with Carl. I'd say in the region
30,
of
40, 50.
Aye, it's just meant.
But looking at some of the stats, he's kept 13 clean sheets out of his 43 appearances for the club. That's 30% at the time. He has kept clean sheets. He's only conceded 51 goals out of the 43 appearances. That is excellent.
For a lower mid-table side, it's absolutely incredible, because compared to the teams around, with like Huddersfield's goalkeeper, for example, he probably concedes 53 every couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
He hasn't got a defence mind.
He doesn't have as good a defence as what Dubravka does, but you could rely on Dubravka if we had a bad defence, because he's a great shot stopper.
And also, going back to that, the defences again, there's not often Dubravka has to have a worldie. Is it? Yes, he might pull off a great save here and there, but other teams have got to pull out. For example, Etheridge of Cardiff has to play has a worldie every game. Dubravka doesn't.
Not a bad
again,
goalkeeper, to be fair.
Yes, but it shows again how Rafa sets up the defence, that he does not need his goalkeeper to perform a 10 out of 10.
The one place that Dubravka does need to perform every week is set pieces. Newcastle are really poor with set pieces. I think it's the most in the league we've conceded with them, with corners and things like that. We don't deal with them very well. I think it's heavily reliant on Dubravka being able to take the cross, and if it goes too far out, there's a lot of problems for defence.
The only criticism that I've got Dubravka is his distribution, getting it out quick. That's the only thing I don't like about him. He's a brilliant, fabulous goalkeeper. But sometimes when you want to get the ball up to Almiron and get it up to Perez, he holds it and holds it and holds it. Now, that's surely got to be Rafa Benitez's tactic, because most goalkeepers will throw it or kick it long.
Yeah.
That has to be Rafa saying, no, hold on the ball, it's 0-0 or it's 1-0 down or whatever. But I would love them to go just throw it.
In defence of that, I think we're having Lejeune back now and Shaw being able to pass the way they can. I think it's more pass it out to them and they'll play that pass. I know it's not as urgent as like the fans may like. Sometimes there is a pass set to be made and it's not made, and it's a bit frustrating. But
please, just touching on Fabian Schär, please, he didn't play tonight.
Because of what happened at the weekend with him.
Yeah.
What happened? He nearly swallowed his tongue.
Well, he was knocked out for 4 minutes the other night. I know he got back up and helped contribute 2 assists, but now you've got to. He's dropped.
Something's got to be done.
He's rested the night, which is good.
I've seen goalkeepers being taken off in the Premier League for like a lot less. I think the famous one a couple of years ago was Lloris getting injured at Stamford Bridge, and he had to go off because of the head injury. It's just a shame that that's happened, and they've been able to play on. Hopefully now there's something can be done with the Swiss FA, because I don't blame Newcastle for showing concern for that, because honestly,
well, it was a joint decision by the Swiss FA and Newcastle to take him out.
Yeah, he should be.
But it was a shame Paul Dummett didn't get on the pitch the other night, because he would have played against Dubravka as well. So that would have been nice to see that, but unfortunately Dummett didn't get off the pitch.
Since coming to the club, we've achieved 54 points. From how many of those 54 points would you say is down to Dubravka?
I thought you would have thrown a quiz question as there. I was like, oh no, he's going to throw a quiz question.
I think it's hard to say, because you'd have to look through all those games that we've got points from individually. But you'd say in all them games, Dubravka has had like a say in it, or like he's took a good cross, or he's had a moment of he's had a good moment in all them games. So yeah, I'd say Dubravka was, as a team, responsible for all of them.
Well, he saved one more than what he's lost. But I know he's had these criticism this year, where he's had obviously the debate about the Wolves one. Was it a foul? Was it not a foul?
Yeah, and he's mistaken Man United.
The Man United.
Yeah, like he has made mistakes this turn of the year, but he's bounced back from it, and that's why I like to say in a goalkeeper, especially if you have a bad game, bounce back stronger, and Dubravka has done that. He's shown massive signs of that.
He's only cost for 2-3 points, and the amount of games and points that he's won.
Yeah,
way outweighs that.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on, we've just received a text coming in, and it's a question. Would you want to see Josef Martinez, Atlanta United striker? Do you want him to see considered, to be transferred to Newcastle? He does know Miguel Almiron and Rondon very well, and so would the link-up play, be a good quality standard?
Well, he didn't really hit it off in Europe, did he? Because what's he in, some sort of Swiss league or something like that? Or
Atlanta United.
No, earlier on, before that, he was in Europe, but then he went back over.
Oh yeah.
To the MLS. Look, he's ripping up the MLS, and he's got the great link up with Almiron. Hey, is he better than Hoslu?
I will say one thing. Josef Martinez, my main centre forward on my career mode on FIFA 19, and he's absolutely class. So for FIFA purposes, Newcastle fans, if you play FIFA, he's fantastic and he's well worth the buy. But in terms
let's have a look at reality, shall we?
In terms of reality,
first of all, how much will it cost? 20 million up.
It's going to be roughly the same amount that we paid for Almiron, for sure.
And can you do 2 risks? Because we've done it with Almiron.
It is a big risk because, of course, the MLS is nowhere near the high standard of the Premier League. So, that big fee that they could well be asking for, that is a big risk.
I'll say no. I wouldn't be for it.
You see, I'd rather Newcastle take the risk and they not be good players than not take the risk at all. No,
I'm not against that. I just think this player,
I've seen by Riviere for 5 million and that, and Joslu's for 5 million, and they've ended up being bad players for Newcastle. Like, between Riviere and Joslo alone, you're looking at, 8 goals over, 60, 70, 80 games? Like, come on, I think Newcastle, even if Jose Martinez came to Newcastle and he didn't play as well, like, at least the risk's been made, at least the ambition's been shown, and that's what the fans want.
We want to know what your thoughts are. Later on in the show, we'll be talking about Mo Diame and Salomon Rondon, the futures they have on Tyneside. We want to know what your thoughts are. The number to call is 0191 432 7234. You can send a text, anyone, to 60777, and you can use the hashtag NE1 as well.
Anyone FM 102.5. Want to get in touch with the studio? Call us on 0191 432 7234 or text the word NE1 followed by your message and send it to 60777. This is NE1 FM.
Welcome back to the Football Fan Zone live on NE1 FM. We're here until 8:30 talking about Newcastle United, and so our next discussion topic are the potential futures of Mohamed Diame and Salomon Rondon. And so let's start with Diame. And yes, he was absolutely fantastic this time last year in that excellent run of form that saw us to safety. Do you think that, well, he is out of contract at the end of the season, may I add, and so is a new contract justified? What do you think, Kyle?
I think a new contract is justified. I think not only that, it's a case of depth, and the gamble is, do you gamble getting rid of Diame and then Mike Ashley putting in the money in the summer to replace him? Personally, I think Rafa would be foolish to risk selling Diame and then gambling on Ashley and saying, "Oh, can I buy this player to replace Diame?" And they'd be like, "Oh no, that's not happening." And then you'd be left with a less player. And I think what Diame offers, he offers something different. He's a holding midfielder. He's a powerhouse in the midfield. He gets the ball back, and I don't think there's anyone else really that can do that, bar Hayden. But we know Hayden's going in the summer because he's obviously got his personal problems.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Hayden and Diame going at the same time, I think would be horrendous for Newcastle, because it's not getting rid of them, Rob. It's replacing them.
That I think would be the biggest issue. And you look at his excellent performances last year, and it was interception after interception after interception.
Well, up until his injury this season, he had the most tackles in the league, even more than the likes of Kante and that. And Kante puts in a lot of tackles every game, and for him to have more than Kante, it's like it's huge. And if it weren't for his injury, and if he was playing every week, he'd probably still be at the top for tackles now.
He's still in the top 10, even though he's been injured for a couple of months.
Yeah, that's that just shows how hard he works when he's on the field.
I think there's pros and cons, because we could be talking about this, but there is this talk that he's got this trigger clause if he hits a certain amount of games, whether that's true or not. His contract might be already...
Well, the talk is he wants a 2-year deal, and Newcastle only offering one.
Well, I think this trigger clause only gives him 1 year.
Yeah, I'd give him the 2-year deal. Like, if they want to get rid of him in 18 months' time when he's like 35, why not? But at the end of the day, if he wants a 2-year contract and he wants to stay at Newcastle, I'd let him stay. I really would.
See, at the minute, it looks really healthy with our set midfield, because we've got 5. But come the summer, we might just have 3.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, he's 32 in June. That's against him, yes. But
if you think about the way he plays, though, it's not really restricted by age.
He's a good squad player.
He doesn't, that squad role that he brings to the team, it doesn't require, much in the way of pace and sprinting.
To be fair, Newcastle risked it last year with Mikel Marino. They risked it with him, and they relied on someone not cashing in on that clause that he had in his contract, and Real Sociedad came in and broke that contract, and we lost him, unfortunately, and then we've had to go out and replace him. And I know we've brought in Key, and it was on a free. I'm not trying to rhyme or anything like that, but that's what we've had to do. We've had to bring that player in because Mikel Marino's left, kind of thing. And I don't think they should make the same mistake with Diame, because he's fully committed to the team, and I think when he plays, he offers something different to what maybe a Longstaff, Shelvey, Hayden, Key would offer. And I think he's a good foil for the other 4 midfielders. To be honest, he can play with any of them, and that's a rare commodity to have in like today's game, where you can have a midfielder that links up with every player in the squad. And it's something nice to have. I think you need to keep Diame and give him 2 years.
Well, we touched on it about half an hour or so ago. Sean Longstaff and Diame his injuries, early in the season, and all the injuries that we had in that central midfield position, that gave the leeway for Sean Longstaff to get a look in the first place.
Yeah.
So, if Diame, was to get given a contract and he's here to stay for the long term, where do you think that would put Sean Longstaff, Lee?
I think you've got to. It doesn't matter about Longstaff. This is about Diame first of all. We can't allow him to leave. At the moment, we've got 5 set midfielders. He's the one who does the dirty work. I know Hayden's been brilliant, but we're expecting, as Kel said, we're expecting Isaac Hayden to leave the club in the summer.
Yeah, and you've got to keep your assets, especially if Hayden's going. Like,
do you trust the board to go in and buy someone else or more Diama's replacement?
I couldn't trust Mike Ashley as far as I could throw him, and believe me, it's not far.
So let's just say that no one comes in because Mike Ashley doesn't put any money out. So then you're left. If we get rid of Diame and Hayden goes because of personal reasons, you're left with Jack Colback and Henri Savé returning to the club, and we might have to end up keeping at least one, if not 2 of them, for the rest of the season, which you didn't want.
I don't even think we'll be able to get rid of Henri Savé, to be honest.
He's still got another 2 or 3 years, hasn't he?
We gave him a 5-year contract. I don't know why. That's like the Lingard of Steve McLaren staying behind. He's like he'll be there for the long term, and
you can't allow Diame to go because Cal's mentioned it. It's depth. Yes, he's not brilliant. He's not going to take it to the next level. That's fine. You can be a squad player. Just give him a 2-year deal. That'll take him to 34. The thing I like about him, he wants to stay. It's like Dubravka. Yeah. He's not one of these players that are fishing for other moves. He wants to stay.
Yeah, he's committed. He's definitely committed to the cause. And the more players that you want, when they walk onto that turf, you want them giving 100% for the team and fully believing that this team can go places. And Diame is definitely one of them players, and outside of football as well, he's got loads of time for kids and whatnot, and he's always outside the ground taking photos. Now, I've met him several times, so have you. He's just a smashing lad, you know what I mean? And
you don't want 4 or 5 midfielders similar. He is different.
He's definitely different to what we've got, and he's stepped it up massively since probably the turn of last year, where
he was never an attacking midfielder, was he? He was never that second striker in the championship.
Like in the championship, he was very poor. We can say that. The first half of our promotion season, very poor, and then he had a turning point. I think it was against West Ham away last season when we won 3-2, and ever since then he's been 9 out of 10 games.
Him and Savé ironically in the midfield.
Savé.
Both of them scored that.
I remember that game for Savé. Actually, he was at fault for West Ham's first goal, and then he goes and whips in a free kick like that. Unbelievable.
I still think he's at fault for the second goal as well when he's not marking his man. But like I say, you've got 5 midfielders, 7 if you include Colback and Savé, and 4 of them could be on the way out. So for me, it's not the case of more Diame. It's about the board. For me, is can you go in and how much will a defence midfielder cost? Because
that'll be Rafa's thinking as well. Can I trust the board to get me these players?
If the club want to go young. And you're talking at least 10 to 15 million. If Hayden's 10 million, who's a rotated player, yes, I know he's doing fantastic since the turn of the year, but generally he's normally 4th choice for us.
Yeah.
He's going to go for 10 million, you would think. How much is a first teamer going to come in? You're talking double?
Yeah.
15, 20?
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially to upgrade the positions we've got.
So even if Diame was to stay, would a central midfielder still be on your shopping list in the transfer window?
I think so, yeah.
I think there's a lot.
With Hayden going and potentially Diame and potentially Shelby as well, he's been talked about. I mean, with Longstaff's surgeons in the squad and Key playing ahead of him before he left for the Asian Cup, there's a lot of doubt around Shelby at the moment, and I think he silenced a lot of those doubters when he came on against Everton and really showed Everton, like, he really controlled that midfield. But at the end of the day, I think we still need a midfielder in the summer for sure, because Hayden's leaving at the very minimum. So
still need a number 10.
Yeah, definitely.
Even this system, we're doing well, but we've always said since probably Wijnaldum, unless Wijnaldum was played out of position quite a bit as well.
We've needed a number 10 since Wijnaldum left,
and he was played out of position quite a bit as well. So.
And Sissoko was the number 10, if you can call him one. I mean, I wouldn't, but some people do.
Longstaff's the interesting one in that midfield over the summer.
I'd build the team around him next season.
Who do you play along? Because I think him and Shelby, they're not identical, but they both want the ball and then spray it.
It's a difficult one, Lee, because I don't.
Can you play both of them?
I don't know if they'd be able to play together. I really don't. I mean, if it worked, the technical gift that both of them have would be able to control a lot of games with them there. But you get the feeling like against the Manchester City, against the Man United, where they've got really good midfielders, you get the feeling that they get overrun a bit. And like they need you need a Diarmi, you need a Hayden to like do the dog work a bit and protect that back four, because the back four would have to play damn well to like compensate for Shelby and Longstaff playing together.
It'd be an interesting summer what happens with Longstaff, because big things for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you say, build the team around Longstaff, but I would wait on that for a moment, because I'd wait until...
Why? Why?
Because, in an injury...
It'd be slowly but surely. Like, I'd have Shelby and Longstaff as me two main people to build a team around, and then I'd, like, go from there.
That I completely understand. It's just when, Longstaff, the injury that he got, it's an injury that can really affect players so much that they're not quite the same player that they once were. So I would say, let him come back, give him the pre-season, see how he does in pre-season, go from there, and then, we might be able to look towards January in terms of, that's when we will know whether, should we shape it around him, who will we need to bring in,
Absolutely.
Come January. Salomon Rondon, moving on. He is currently on loan from West Brom. Back in the summer, Dwight Gale went the other way on loan. And there's no doubt about it, Rondon, he has been a massive hit with the fans. He certainly looks a lot happier in a Newcastle shirt than he did whilst he was playing for West Brom.
Yeah. Let's get ready to Rondon.
I say the logical thing, because Rondon's contract at West Brom runs out at the end of the season, and I suppose the logical thing could be let that contract run out and then we can get him on a free.
I think you're wrong on that, Rob. Before we brought him in on loan, he signed a 1-year contract extension at West Brom.
That was part of his deal.
So because Newcastle would have tried to pull a fast one, obviously Mike Ashley being the chairman would be like, oh well, get him for free in the summer. But
1 year to go at West Brom. What sort of fee would you like to purchase?
They're talking 10-15 million, but personally I'd just go straight swap with Dwight Gale, and if West Brom want a couple of million on top, give them it.
I guess that might depend on whether West Brom get promotion. They're currently in
the clause is if West Brom don't come up this season, it's 15 million, 16 million around. And for me, with how good he is in Rafa's system and how many goals he can score,
15
million is a bargain, because I've seen teams buy like players for 20-30 million and not have that kind of return. So Rondon is an absolute steal for that.
Yeah, 15 million, yes, I would take, but you might have to take into account how much of a percentage is 15 million going to be in the transfer budget. I mean, all of a sudden, is 15 million worth it, do you think?
Yes.
I think he's got to.
The other one they're talking about is João Latino from Hoffenheim.
Joe Linton.
Yeah, and it's a case of does Rafa want to take a risk on this Brazilian striker, or does he want to play it safe and go with Rondon? I'd personally go with Rondon. I mean,
you've got to, haven't you?
Yeah.
Even if it means swapping Gale and even potentially using Jacob Murphy as another leverage. I would I'd probably say I would swap Rondon and I'll swap the other two. If they come to me and said that, I would just do it.
I think the deal that would get it done would be Rondon direct swap with Dwight Gale and Jacob Murphy for another season on loan, and I think that would get the deal done.
And is this assuming if West Brom don't come up?
And that's assuming West Brom don't come up. And I think with them sacking Darren Moore recently,
which was shocking,
I don't think they will. I mean, there are a team that I would like to come up because they're like the close away day and things like that. But
Birmingham, that's a canny drive.
It's a couple of hours, mate. It's better in contrast to London, isn't it? But no, I don't think West Brom are going to come up. I mean, it's unfortunate because I don't think Darren Moore deserves to lose his job. Very, very similar to Chris Hughton in the story that he came in with a relegated squad and would have took them up. I think Darren Moore would have took them up, but he's been shown the door for the wrong reasons, just like Chris Hughton did at Newcastle years ago.
Look at the Daily. Do you see the Daily Star yesterday? They turned around and said that Mike Ashley wants to go back to the old model of buying young, selling for whatever X amount. But you've got to get Rondon. Doesn't care. He's 29.
Yeah.
Gale's only a
Rondon's
year.
an absolute must.
Gale's only a year younger, so You've got to get him. He suits this system.
Yeah, he does.
So well.
Yes, it's similar to what I said about Diame. Rondon's role in the squad, it doesn't depend on pace.
If we lose Rondon,
we've got Joslu.
We've got Hoslu. If we lose Diame, we're fine.
Yeah.
There's a difference, because if we lose Rondon, if everything we do going forward is around him.
Yeah, it's not just his goals, is it? It's his hold-up play. It's how he brings people into the game. He gives so much.
And there's another one, Kyle, who wants to stay. He's come out recently and said, "I want to stay."
As you know, I love him. He's such
a beautiful man.
Yeah, a big beautiful man, as I call him. But honestly, he's just, in terms of hold-up play, I think he's one of the best I've seen. As well, he's very clinical. He doesn't miss.
He's got in the top 10. One of the high shots in total. He's in the top 10 in the Premier League. That really surprised me. That,
but he very you can rely on him. I couldn't rely on Dwight Gill. No disrespect to the lad, but I couldn't rely on him as a striker. He worked hard and things like that, but Rondon offers
not
more.
Consistent.
Rondon offers Rafa so much more, and that's why Rondon came in and Mitrovic came out, because Rafa can rely on him in this system, whereas he couldn't Mitrovic last season.
Yeah, well, Gale, he's not a 15 season striker in the Premier League. Rondon, he's on course for 15 goals.
Yeah, he is. It'll be the first striker to do so since
Remy.
Yeah.
Remy got 14. Cisse just missed off.
Rob the stat man.
I'm trying to process them in my head. Who was the last one to get 15? Let us know the contact details.
Demba Bau's last to get 15.
It's got to be Bar, isn't it?
Bar scored like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, Demba Bar.
Drop us a text message, let us know.
Also on the topic of futures, we have Isaac Hayden. We touched on it earlier that he wants to leave because of his personal reasons. And first of all, I absolutely admire his professionalism, because how many times have we seen players in a situation where they go, I don't want to be here anymore, they sulk while they're on the pitch, they just don't try whatsoever, and yet he has maintained so much professionalism, and hey, he's playing so well.
He's playing his best football at Newcastle.
We have to give credit, both of us, Kyle.
I slated him early on the season. I really did. After Cardiff and what he did at Cardiff, a lot of fans turned against him, me included.
That was another one as well.
And honestly, I just thought there was no way back for him. But
I believe in you, Isaac.
He's really kicked on, especially from that Man City game, and he's just got better and better. And he's been more than like his role. He's been getting forward, he's been causing problems, and if not for a touch of wind at Bournemouth, he would have probably scored the goal of the season. But he's
changed his game. I think it's his mindset. We always knew there's some sort of a footballer there,
of
the potential and so on. But with Isaac Hayden, we slated him to Cardiff. We all the way went down there. It's a long drive, red hot. Hated that he came on.
And he came on, and then he kicked out with several players and then got sent off.
And then he came out in the new year once again. I want to leave.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, someone must have put him to one side and say, right, come on, lad, sort yourself out.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, he's another one who's been forced in the team because of injury. And again, I know I'm repeating myself here, but it's the wing back system suits the two separate midfielders because they don't have to keep getting forwards. They can occasionally, but not as much as what they would in the gives,
like with the five at the back and the two holding midfielders, it gives a lot of freedom to the front three, and I think that's why Almiron, Perez and Rondon are all blossoming really well in that team. They're just doing fantastic.
Okay, and so we have a caller on the line. So
it's 40!
Oh, 40. Hello, 40. Good evening to you all. Futures of Modiame, Salomon, Rondon.
Well, they both got to stay. I was listening to what Lee was saying, and yes, if we lose Modiame, we've still got Caro, still got Longstaff coming back, we've still got Shelby, but obviously Rondon's the top priority, isn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah.
He has to stay.
Yeah, I agree with 40.
Are you doing 40?
I'm good, mate. How's the first show? Going well?
Yeah, we're doing well. Please let us know in the checks and give us a ring, so I shall say you for Arsenal away.
100%, looking forward to it.
Question.
Number away day on the belt.
Yeah, there is another one. Question for you then. If Modiame did leave, Hayden was to leave, would you trust the board?
Well, what does that leave us with? Shelby, Longstaff, Key,
and then
who else?
Callback and Save.
I mean, if they listen to leave, depends how much money we get in and if we replace them. If they both leave, Because let's face it, Hayden still wants to leave regardless of his good form. And Diame, he didn't cost us much anyway, so it's not that much of a big loss. But if we managed to replace him, then yeah, you'd be alright. If Rondon was to leave and we didn't replace him, or we didn't sign him up, then you'd have to start questioning people.
How much would you pay for Rondon? 40?
Listen, open checkbook, mate, to be fair. But my only hesitation is, I'm sure we was all saying the same thing when Kennedy had his first good season with us, and look what he's turned into. So, I don't know if he's doing it because he's desperate to get a move away from West Brom, and then when he signs it, it'll be a bit more settled, a bit like Kennedy, or he's consistent with his form. What do you reckon?
Well, let's have a think about this, because West Brom, they are in contention for promotion from the Championship. Do you think if West Brom were to get that promotion place back to the Premier League, might Rondon have second thoughts and stay at the Hawthorns, do you reckon?
Well, he could be playing in the Premier League with West Brom or us, but again, who would he rather be playing under? Would he rather be playing under Rafa Benitez at Newcastle or whoever they get in at West Brom? Do you know what I mean? So there's your answer right there. Like, would you rather be playing in front of 52,000 fans or,
What club was that?
21,000 fans?
What club was that, 40?
Newcastle United?
Newcastle? Sorry, 40.
Oh, right, yeah.
Inside joke.
What about this Joe Linton you guys were on about?
He's currently at Hoffenheim facing competition with Andre Kramrich and Ishak Belfodil. You might think that, from Joe Linton's point of view, he might see the opportunity if Rondon decides not to stay at Newcastle. He might see that opportunity of, I have competition with Hosselu rather than, the excellent strikers of the Bundesliga.
So basically, he doesn't have any competition.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Fordy, any final thoughts? Rondon definitely. Diame, do you think would you like him to stay?
Rondon definitely. Diame we can get away with. I'm still curious to see how the Hayden deal goes about as well, because I'm still 50-50 if he'll leave or not. I still reckon he wants to, but I think what we'll be asking might be a bit too much for other teams, so he might have to stay with us a bit longer. So Rondon definitely sign him up at any means necessary.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, 40 minutes.
Got to.
And then Diame, neither here nor there.
Okay, and thank you very much, Fordy. Thank you for joining us, and have a nice evening.
See you Monday, mate.
Bye now.
See you later, mate.
So thank you very much to Fordy there, and we have an update on the England score. It is Montenegro 1, England 0. Vicevic is the goal scorer for Montenegro. And so coming up after this ad break, we're touching up on the other teams in the northeast. Sunderland have a cup final at Wembley at the weekend, and also the teams in the region, your Blythe, Hartlepool and Middlesbrough, to name a few.
Anyone FM 102.5. Want to get in touch with the studio? Call us on 0191 432 7234 or text the word anyone followed by your message and send it to 60777. This is Anyone FM.
Welcome back to the Football Fan Zone live on Anyone FM, and on the line now we have Rob. Good evening, Rob.
Hello lads, how's it going?
Good, thanks, and yourself? It's a good name you have.
Yes, definitely.
So,
yeah.
So what would you like to talk about, Rob?
Well, you were just talking before about the transfer policies at Newcastle at the minute.
Yeah.
Well, the dilemmas that Newcastle have got to face. You were talking about whether it's worth taking a gamble, bringing in another big signing. I think at this stage you kind of have to, especially with where you're at with the manager, with Benitez. I think he's a manager who expects support, and I think if he expects the club to have ambition, and I think you need to bring in some quality if you want to have that ambition.
So you think of actually possibly selling the idea of he's willing to fork out for a big marquee signing that might get Rafa on side to try and sign an extension?
Yeah, well, I think was it last week or the week before they announced they were going to develop the training ground a bit more. Which is one of the things I think Rafa was really behind, and that was one of the things I think he really pushed for. So I think he's maybe starting to look at it and think, well, this is what we need to do to keep him on board. And I think if Rafa ever went, there would be a fan revolt. So he's got to try and keep him on side. But they took the gamble with Almiron. Yeah.
Problem is though, Rob, it's Mike Ashley though. It's all saying Rafa Benitez this, and it's good that it wants this and that. But at the end of the day, will Ashley do it? Will he back his man?
I think the thing with Ashley is, with him being a businessman, he doesn't see it from that point of view. He sees it as, well, if I spend 20 million, will I get 20 million pounds back? That's how businessmen think, isn't it? And if he thinks it's going to be a player who's going to play in the team, and he might get a few goals, but he's a guy who expects a return on money. That's how businessmen operate, and I think that's the attitude he's always got. He'll not want to spend anywhere plus 20 million because he won't see the financial benefit.
Well, it took him so long to spend so much on Almiron. It took him 11, 12 years to break our transfer record, which we've been crying out for a long time. Because, to be honest, I didn't want Mike alone being our highest paid ever player, but it took him a long time to fork out the money to spend on these type of players, and it's just a joke, and I don't trust Ashley to do it again, to be honest.
I think maybe the fright of relegation, he doesn't want a third relegation. I think that will really the value of the club always drops, and I think I think that was what pushed it. I think at the time when the Almiron signing went through, there was always, I think we're comfortable now. We're not 100%, but I think we'll be okay. But at the time, we weren't, and I think he really wanted to make sure, because I think the third relegation, Benitez would definitely leave, and I think there would be definitely no guarantees this time.
There would have been a revolt as well in terms of protests and that as well.
So thank you very much, Rob, for joining us. We hope you have a nice night. John, we have on the line. Good evening, John.
Hi there, you alright?
Good evening. How are you, John?
Very good. Yourself, Rob?
Yes, good, thanks.
I am good, mate.
What would you like to talk about tonight?
I think what I'd like to talk about is I think you've also got a massive game coming up against Arsenal this weekend. I was just wondering how Rafa will go with it. If you'll play 5 at the back or 4 at the back.
Gotta go 5 at the back again, hasn't he? It's been working a treat, do you not think?
I think you go 5 at the back. I'm just worried about Fabian Schär's injury.
I can certainly think that, but we have Federico Fernandez as well, who could possibly slot in alongside Lejeune and Lascelles with that back 3, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I think even Kieran Clark could do a job.
Kieran Clark, of course, forgotten man in this 5 at the back system. And yeah, I think to sort of answer the query, 5 at the back has been working, and it's certainly a lot more defensive, which is what we need against big teams away at Arsenal's stomping ground.
Do you reckon we can get anything, John, from Monday night?
I think we can get a point. I think obviously going forward, Arsenal's main threats are Aubameyang, Lacazette and Ozil. I think that's going to be very, very difficult to keep them quiet. I think defensively, though, I think they're very weak. Actually, I think this is probably the weakest Arsenal.
Yeah, especially the likes of Mustafi and that, Johnny.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to look at the likes of maybe the wing backs. Bellerin's injured. Obviously, he's out for the rest of the season. I think maybe if we put Almiron on that side, because I don't think they've got a good second choice right back. But no, I think it's a good chance for us to take points. But it's I think obviously always going to the Emirates, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it's also very good at home. Only Man City's beaten them at the Emirates this season in the league.
Yeah, we've beaten Man City though.
we have, but at the Emirates, Arsenal have only been beaten by Man City on the opening day, and the draw against Liverpool. Other than that, they've been flawless at home. It's going to be hard.
Score prediction?
Tough game. Obviously, I'm going down next. I think it'll be 1-1. My heart says 1-1. My head probably says 3-2 Arsenal, but I think it's going to be a tough game. I think you've got to look at Newcastle going forward. If Rondon, he's just beating Messi and co. So with a fantastic goal. So as long as we can, hopefully, we can keep him fit and keep him to the rest of the season, and hopefully, might actually decide to get his checkbook out. That'd be good. But I think if Rondon causes some problems, then Newcastle should have an okay night. But we never know away from home in the capital.
And it's of course, the London jinx. And so, thank you very much for joining us, John, and we hope you have a good evening.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, lads. All the best.
John and Rob there, thank you very much to their calls. And so, moving on now towards, let's shift the focus away from Newcastle United, and let's talk about the other clubs in the region. Of course, we'll have listeners, who are your Sunderland fans, your Blythe fans, etc., etc. So, I guess the big question is, we are. Let's be honest, we are Newcastle fans, as you probably.
There's going to be a bias. There's going to be a biased approach. Yeah.
So Sunderland, they are in the Checkatrade Trophy final. That is.
Sorry, say again. They're in the what?
Checkatrade Trophy final.
Sounds like an ABBA song.
It's not like they haven't reminded whether in the Checkatrade Trophy final either.
That is this Sunday coming, and they have a trip to Wembley, their first since the League Cup final in 2014, and. I'll sort of kick this off here. I'm going to be, I'm not going to be saying, Checkatrade Trophy is this. I'm actually going to applaud Sunderland here because they have been in the mire. They've had a dreadful few years. Let's not forget.
Let them.
Well, yeah, I mean, as fun as that has been, but let's not forget they've tried to bounce back as much as they have done, and to play for a promotion push in the league and to also keep up a cup final. I know it's the Checker Trade Trophy, it's nothing special, but the day out at Wembley is always special. I mean, we had it with Tottenham in the league, which I think is the better deal. I think it's the we had the better deal in terms of we had a trip to Wembley because we're in the same league as Tottenham. But I just think hats off to Sunderland. They've tried to focus on a promotion push, and they are still in the hunt for promotion back to the Championship, and they've managed to keep that up so much that they're in a cup final. Kyle, what do you think?
Look
at him trying to be neutral.
I'll agree with what you said, Rob. I will applaud Sunderland. They've sold out all the tickets to go to Wembley.
I'm going to use a little bit of that audio clip right there.
To be fair, on the same point, they have had a rough couple of seasons where they've been relegated twice. As much as we've reminded them, they've been relegated twice. But I'm not going to. They should be getting to these finals. They've played our under 23s. They played
Man City's.
They played Man City's under 23s. They haven't played it. They haven't played like.
They've been pre-competition favourites, haven't they?
They have, and with their
and they lived up to that
And
expectation.
they're not used. Some are not used to it, but they're the big spenders in the division they're in. Like I know about where I'm at uni. I know Barnsley fan very well, and he knows the league. And Sunderland are the heavy hitters in terms of how much they've spent. I know they've only spent like a couple of million, but to spend 4.5 million on Will Grigg, if for a League One side, it's just like it blows most teams in that division out of the water. And I
take it you're wearing blue on Sunday.
I wear black and white like I always do, mate. Honestly, if Sunderland win, we'll be reminded in the mass amount now they've won something and has a joy. You've seen a Geordie lift a cup at Wembley and all that, but at the end of the day, with what they've beat, it's no surprise that they're there. But I feel the Sunderland fans, with the couple of years they've had with Ellis Short and the 2 relegations and constantly getting hammered every week off every team they play, going a year at home without winning, crying on Netflix, they deserve a nice day out at Wembley. So
it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. So let them enjoy their day out, and if they get beat off Portsmouth, I'll be happy to remind them.
So let's move swiftly on to Middlesbrough now. Sandwiched right between us and Sunderland, not geographically, but in terms of the football pyramid. Middlesbrough, they are currently 5th in the Championship. An automatic promotion place is probably too much to ask. That is now a 4-horse race between Sheffield United, Norwich, Leeds and West Brom.
I think West Brom are out of it. If you look at the league table, Middlesbrough, the North East, are you sure about that? More Yorkshire, aren't they?
I know, but when you look at it from their point of view, in terms of local rivalries for them, I mean, the teams in their geographical area like Darlington, Hartlepool, they've never been on a par with Middlesbrough. And, just like every fan, they want a local rivalry, and who can they say that's sort of near a par with them? Leeds, Sunderland going the other way, and us, really. So,
do you actually care if Middlesbrough come up? I don't.
I don't mind it.
I'd rather borrow Kilt than Norwich.
Oh, you're just thinking of the big game,
I'm just thinking of the travel in the car, you know what I mean? It's like
I'd be more happy for North East football because, I mean, let's look, cast our minds back to 2002, 2003 when, we were regulars in Europe, we were in the Champions League.
Steve McLaren was relevant.
Yeah, Middlesbrough, they got to the UEFA Cup final in 2006. Sunderland were knocking on Europe's door. Those 3 clubs, we're nowhere near, all of those 3 clubs are nowhere near that standard that they were, about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So, we just want a bit of recovery. Seeing Borough.
To be fair, though,
big time would be good.
Out of all the playoffs teams, nobody will want to play Middlesbrough because Tony Pulis and the defensiveness and how rugged they're going to be, especially in the first home tie and things like that. Borough will be a nightmare in those playoffs, and nobody will want to play.
I don't think anyone will play anyone because if you look, let's just say Leeds, West Brom, Middlesbrough, and Villa are currently in the playoff positions. Villa are flying at the minute. They thumped Middlesbrough 3-0.
And they've just beat Birmingham as well for all the Jack Grealish incident.
Yeah. So it's anybody's game. It's like a lottery in the playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah. But I'd say one problem for Middlesbrough is that they have relied a lot on Britta Sombolonga in the same way that you cast our minds back to 2 years ago when we were in the Championship and we relied on Dwight Gale so much.
Yeah.
And we really struggled for goals in that second half of the season when he was injured. And in the end, you know, we won the race to promotion whilst...
Thanks to Jack Grealish.
well, in terms of getting promotion there in the first place in that top two, and you know, we crawled over the line huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
We were exhausted after all of that.
It's a dogged season in the Championship. I don't wish it on anyone. It's a hard old division.
Certainly. And Gateshead. Let's move on to Gateshead. Consecutive defeats have dented their playoff hopes. They're now 2 points off the playoffs. They have crucial games coming up against Fylde, Eastleigh and Harrogate. They are all in the playoffs, so you'd think, you know, win them, their win is also, and the loss is also their game. And it'd be fantastic to see Gateshead in the Football League.
I would like to see Gateshead out of all of them because they're a tiny club and they've had a shocking owner.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be a thing with the North East, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I know he's got the club up for sale. Has it been bought for £1? And then
not yet.
Debt been settled.
Yeah.
And they've sold, you know, star strikers, star players.
Steve Watson has been shipped off to York. Yeah.
For Gateshead to be sitting 8th at the moment with a few games left, it's a hell of an achievement.
I mean, if they do it, fair play to them, but I don't know if they will mind.
I think it's going to be a little
it's an
bit too
uphill
much.
task, but at least they're like stable in the table and they can like go on for next season.
Long Gateshead up, because I remember a few years ago.
Hopefully, if they like get a new owner and things like that, great.
And so we have one final call. We finish here at 8:30. So we have one final call. So good evening, caller.
Hi, it's Paul.
Paul, nice to meet you, Paul. And so, what are your thoughts on the current situation
with Sunderland?
Just like I said, the show's been great. I mean, I've listened to it all. It's been fantastic. With regards to Sunderland, it's every Newcastle supporter, and I am a Newcastle supporter, it's every Newcastle supporter's duty to support the team first, and then to hate on Sunderland second. So, there will be a definite shade of blue this weekend. Obviously, no Newcastle game till a Monday, but no, I don't forget the ribbons that they give us when we went down, and. No, I can never, ever wish Sunderland luck, so I've got to be supporting the opposition.
Oh, Paul, and
to me...
And in
definitely.
And in terms of their league position, how would you feel if they got promotion to the Championship? That's assuming we are going to stay up in the Premier League, and yet Sunderland in the Championship. How would you see their sort of progress over the coming years?
Well, the thing is, I think if they go up this season, I see them struggling again. So again, that would be quite funny as Newcastle supporters. It's enjoyable to see them squirm a bit. Yeah. But to be honest, from what I've seen of League One, and you know obviously that I've got connections with Barnsley, obviously up in the promotion race as well. Got obviously in-laws down there. To me, I still think Barnsley are going to do it. I think obviously Luton are going to finish first. I still think Barnsley. Yeah. They've got a 5-point lead with 2 games. Obviously with like the 2 games that Sunderland have got to try and catch up. But I'd rather have the points in the bag. So I think it's the playoffs, and I think the playoffs is an absolute lottery, and it's anybody's game, isn't it, when it comes to the playoffs and stuff. So it could be funny. We could see Sunderland lose maybe twice at Wembley this season.
Brilliant setup.
And there will be no tears spilled at my household, put it that way.
Maybe tears of happiness, maybe.
Oh yes, one or two drinks, but of celebration, and especially with the in-laws and stuff like that as well. But no, I'm a Newcastle fan through and through, and all this niceness to Sunderland, it doesn't wash with me. I'm after 100% Newcastle, and like I say, support the lads.
Yeah.
And anything which is against Sunderland, it'll always be the same for me.
Good to hear. Thank you very much, Paul, for joining us, and I hope you have a pleasant evening. And so, yes, we are coming to an end of our first show of the Football Fan Zone here on NE1 FM.
Hey, we've done all right though, haven't we?
I've really enjoyed it. It's really flown by the past hour and a half. So, yes, we will be back same time next week. That's assuming we will be allowed to return. Yes, of course. Next week, if you would like to get in contact, the telephone number is 0191 432 7234. You can send us a text with anyone in your message, and then your message to the number 60777. And of course, on social media, you can use the hashtag NE1.
Anyone FM.